Hi, everyone. Hi, Jennifer, Katrin, Joanne, Abby, Ellen. Who else is coming in there? KG. It's so fun seeing all the names and the faces begin to populate in. Can everybody hear okay? Great. So we have Wade in Portland. We're here in Cincinnati. Jennifer's in Ann Arbor. Where's everyone else calling in from?
New York.
Fantastic, welcome.
Thank
I
you.
think you're probably going to get our very lovely weather tomorrow.
It's nice today. I've been out walking. It's great.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
KG's from Glasgow. Wow, I've never been there. Joanne from Minnesota. We have Susan coming in. All righty. We're going to wait a couple more minutes. There's a certain shape of the grid that tells me it's ready to begin. Sue M., where are you from?
From the UK, from a little seaside town called Westgate-on-Sea.
Beautiful.
Lovely to be here.
Okay. I think we're going to go ahead and begin officially. So I see many, many familiar faces, and I'll just do a quick overview of what this hour is going to hold for us. So this is Mindful Poetry Moments, and these gatherings we've been doing online since the pandemic, the early days of the pandemic, and they created such a nourishing space that we've continued them. So we'll tell you at the end about upcoming events, but this event today is going to follow the structure that we always follow. We have a beautiful guest coming today, Amy Tuttle, who's going to kick us off with a gorgeous grounding meditation. After that, we're going to turn it over to Wade Hopkins, one of our original OG gatherers and one of our favorite writers and friends in this room, who's going to introduce a poem to us. He's going to talk about the poem, give us time to settle into our thoughts about it. We'll get a writing prompt. We'll write together for around 10 minutes or so, and then we come back and we share. I'll say this again when we get to the sharing part. We love to hear your words. We are recording this, and that if you wish to share your poem, but have it edited out of the recording that we share out later, just let us know. And by us, I mean Bryce Kessler, who will edit it out of the recording. We'll finish up after hearing everybody's gorgeous words. We'll finish up with a little bit of talking about what comes next for Mindful Poetry, and then a final reading of the poem. So that's our roadmap. So just a couple things about Wade and Amy. First of all, Wade and Amy are people who, when I talk about them, I'm like, oh, Wade, oh, Amy. They're people who, when to conjure them or to speak their name, it's like the hand goes straight to the heart. So Wade is an educator and is a reader and leads a nonprofit in his hometown of Portland, Oregon, dedicated to a coalition of STEAM providers, so science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, with a focus on cultivating comprehensive access to these kind of programs, particularly for BIPOC youth in North and Northeast Portland. Wade attended our first gathering and credits that event with igniting his passion for poets. And when you say, Wade, the On Being gathering, was that the Mindful Poetry gathering or the 2018 gathering that they had in the Redwoods?
The Redwoods.
Okay.
Yes, I'm one of the privileged On Being.
Yeah, no kidding. I feel that. So Wade is here with a poem called Because I Sit Here So by Laura Riding Jackson, who was born in 1901, died 90 years later, and was a rebel and a beautiful poetic voice that we're going to learn a lot more about. Amy Tuttle is oh my gosh, a multi-hyphenate human being who has so many spaces, creates connection in nature, in classrooms, in community. And I feel like Amy's skill set and wisdom is almost bigger than a human body should be able to hold. So we're very lucky to have Amy here. You will get, after this gathering, information about Amy and about Wade to find out more about how you can connect with them beyond this gathering. So, anything else I need to cover? Alrighty, so let the beauty begin, and we're gonna turn it over to Amy.
All right, thank you so much, Stacy and friends at the Well. Beautiful to see you all today. Let's start by just taking a moment to take each other in. So if you're able, wherever you're at, to turn your camera on, even just for a moment, just to have a chance to kind of look around. And I love to remind myself that everyone, yeah. Hi, Elena. Good to see you. Long time no see, actually. Hi. So just a reminder that everyone here in these like strange little two-dimensional boxes is out there living a multi-dimensional reality, just like our poet that we're going to dive into today lived a very dimensional, fiery, bizarre life. Can't wait to learn more about her, just like I can't wait to learn more about each of you and also about myself. Myself as some sort of like captain on this thing called life. So let's just take a few moments to dip into the space of the body and also perhaps even some of the layers that are happening within the body, the internal life. And the invitation really is to like start with the feet. Start with the feet, and you can start with the eyes open too, and just let the feet notice the ground beneath them, your simple connection. Maybe even pushing a little bit of weight through each foot. Letting the attention drop from the head space all the way down through the body to this place of connection with the floor, the ground, beneath the feet. And just consider for a moment that because we sit here so, we are all connected in some sort of way to each other through the immensity of ground that covers the whole earth. The mass network of interconnection that happens with the feet and all sort of spaces beyond the feet too. And then from here, you might let the eyes flutter or float to closed if they're not already. A hand can find the chest and another hand can find the belly. And simply notice, start to tune into the breath without any need to change anything, just to notice yourself breathing in and exhaling, breathing out. And as you notice your breath, you may also cue in with the senses to other things happening around and inside of you. Because I sit here, so perhaps I hear. What do you hear? Because we're sitting here, so what do we feel? What do we notice? You might feel the temperature on your skin, the sun peeking through the window, glistening your face. And as we sit here, we allow our breath to deepen, breathing into the pelvis, the belly, allowing the rib cage to expand and take up space, becoming full, and then releasing, exhaling. And just for a few moments, enjoy the spaciousness of breath, simply breathing deeply. And a simple invitation as you breathe deeply is to notice the textures that are making themselves known in your interior life. Perhaps the texture of emotion or the texture of the near future or the texture of our connection to each other. And so we sit for just a moment longer, simply noticing. And we start to ever so gently allow movement, keeping the eyes closed if they're closed, and just letting the body emerge into some simple stretch Gently blinking the eyes to let the light back in. And as we sit here, so taking a moment to, with curious eyes, just notice your surroundings. Look around. And bring that same sort of fresh curiosity back to the group, because we sit here so, and just notice each other. Great. All right. Well, I'm so looking forward to diving into this work with my friend and a person that I really admire, Wade Hopkins, who's been a huge part of the Mindful Poetry Moments community for, I think, really since we started, whose work in the world is full of beauty and of essential nature, supporting young people in their educational path and their leadership journey. And he's selected a really curious poem for us today. And with that, I'll just eagerly and gently pass it over to Wade to guide us through.
Thank you. I had some heady things to say, but I want to kind of carry this feeling forward. So Bryce, if you want to put up the poem. On the first pass through this, I think it'd be fun to try just sort of notice your emotional response or how it connects to you on kind of on a sort of inner level. Because I sit here so. Because I sit here so, drooping and parched under this sun of sorrow, I know somewhere a flower or another like me, hidden in a rare chance of difference, wonders and withers unaccountably. And if I sit here so, kindred and interlinked in circumstance with others like me, wherever I have been to dream. And if I sit here so, stir me not, demons of the storm. Were I as you would have me, astart with anger, gnawing the self-fold chain until the spell of unity break, madness would but thunder where sorrow had once burned, a sun to smile in and sit waiting under. Because I sit here so, initiating in unrebellion the perpetual ring of who are like me, death laughs along with us and wears this garland of another and another, dying alone, alike, and always. I think we could put it down for a minute now. So that's the piece. Laura Riding worked in the Southeast initially and worked with many prominent poets, whom together, I think collectively for at least a period, were known as the Fugitive Group. And they took a stance that was sort of trying to bring recognition to the writers of the Southeast. In her work, she advocated kind of this, there's a moralism, there's a strict moral aesthetic, I think, about language and believing that poetry held the power to reveal truth. And that was sort of the work of poetry, was to reveal truth. She envisioned poetry, I think, as a way to kind of elevate communication into a spiritual form. She sort of saw poetry as the secular pair or twin of religion. So while one might choose a religious observance, the sort of more secular way for the same spiritual practice was poetry. At least at that point, if you put yourself back into the 1920s. So thank you. If we could see the poem again, I think we could do another reading where we took in a little bit more of some, whatever your thing is that you always like to read up for in poems, rhyme, form, theme, all the sort of traditional pieces. In her words, she wrote, "I recommend that the poems be read as a report of what it is like to live by the sense of life one finds in one as a being of the humankind. This meaning a sense of total community, to try to speak as oneself, not fearing to be overheard, whatever there is to say, whatever, wherever, whenever." So here she is again. Because I sit here so, because I sit here so, drooping and parched under this sun of sorrow, I know somewhere a flower or another like me, hidden in a rare chance of difference, wonders and withers unaccountably. And if I sit here so, kindred and interlinked in circumstance with others like me, wherever I have been to dream. And if I sit here so, stir me not, demons of the storm, where I, as you would have me, astart with anger, gnawing the self-fold chain until the spell of unity break, madness would but thunder where sorrow had once burned, a sun to smile in and sit waiting under. Because I sit here so, initiating an unrebellion, the perpetual ring of who are like me, death laughs along with us and wears this garland of another and another, dying alone, alike and always. All right. So I would love to hear if anyone wanted to share what emotions kind of are people responding to in this piece.
Did you want us to put our hands up, or sorry? I didn't...
Yeah, sure.
Ellen's got her hand up, so I'll go after you, Ellen.
Ellen and Francine.
Okay. I'm just the strength of the speaker is really what comes through for me. Like I feel, the repetition of because I sit here so in this, it feels like a challenging moment, but the speaker is really being strong in her commitment to self.
Yeah, I like that. Francine?
I was having a little trouble with her being under the sun and the sorrow part. In part, that sounds kind of like being in the desert to me, because the sun is different in different places. And I kind of felt a little pain in my arm, like that was something that this sorrow was like, well, we say sorrow, but it's funny how we don't put body parts to these adjectives, but I was feeling like maybe this might be some kind of heartbreak or loss that she was feeling, but what bothered me is that's not my son today. So having to relate to her son at that time in her history was like, how far down do I want to go? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm making sounds of agreement, but I was muted. So. Yes. Thank you. Katrin?
Hello. I'm finding myself really responding to the bravery of the speaker in choosing to sit here, so to choose that, and the beauty and the love and the pain and all of it that can come with that. I'm really struck by how brave of a choice that is. And the last stanza in particular, I found myself tearing up at just how it affords the speaker the opportunity to make meaning out of the fullness of a life journey and to find meaning, that idea that death laughs along with us. I'm really taking that to mean like, hey, this is maybe the secret of living a life in community. Here you go. Pass it along as you will. So I'm really enjoying this poem. Thank you so much for sharing it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yes,
I know.
sir.
I was going to say, Sue, did you have a thought? I know you're unmuted there.
Oh, sorry, yes. Yeah, I could relate to what the last speaker said, particularly. I felt there was a real defiance there, but also a defiance in reaching out into what unites us. Seemed to be saying to me, that like the universality of death. I mean, there's definitely a loss there, and yeah, I've recently experienced one myself, so it's kind of like a bit. It might be that I'm reading more into that because it felt like the strong emotions that it is quite a lonely experience, loss, if you lose someone, but actually we can't deny we all go through it. That's what the poem, it seemed to be really hitting me in the heart, that one, but that might be because it has a particular resonance with me at the moment, and that I will sit here and I will face it, but there are others out there experiencing exactly the same. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Sarah?
Thank you, Wade, and I really appreciated your introduction about the author, actually, because when you said that the author, or the poet, I should say, the poet was thinking of poetry as kind of a secular form of spirituality. I'm Unitarian Universalist, so it just brought me right back to that, because I feel like we don't have a sacred text, although we joke that like Mary Oliver is one of our sacred texts. Any poets, especially as the more nature focused they are, the more we feel akin to them, I suppose. And one of our principles is the interconnectedness of all creatures. Actually, it's not even creatures, it's all life. So it includes plants, everything that is alive. And I really liked what both Katrin and Sue said, so I won't add too much to it there. But basically, no matter how physically or geographically or, by appearance we are alone, we're actually all connected and experiencing similar things. And there is a spiritual solace to that, I think, no matter what pain we're in. And I really liked that the poet, or the speaker in the poet, was staying resolute in that focus on the connection instead of falling into, I don't remember the language that they used, but basically saying, I'm not going to let those demons overtake me. I'm going to stay connected. And I just want to say, I'm so glad to have you leading us, Wade. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Well, I love nerding out on this stuff. So before we transition into some prompts, I would ask for anyone in a moment if anybody has a prompt they would like to share before we share the two I have. I would say, Laura Writing goes on to say this: poetry bears in itself the message that it is the destiny of human beings to speak the meaning of being, but it nurses in itself as in a sacred apartness, not to be translated into the common meanings in its delivery. So it was important to her to remove words, I think, and to find that essential thread of the poem. So there's a lot of things you might write about. I wrote my prompts as just reflections. So I don't know what it might, I would suggest you write what is essential to you. whether that be based on the emotional context, your internal reactions, playing with the form, the repeated line. There's a lot, I think, to play with here. One theme that I thought would be interesting to explore is that paradox in the poem of universality and individuality. Is kind of, so we're all connected, but we're all apart, just like this shared experience is forging a connection. Kind of interesting. I think another thing would be sort of the connection of spirituality and language and religion, and some things that are reflecting on how those things come together as an exploration of meaning. Did anyone have a prompt they would want to share? I heard a lot of different ideas. I wasn't scribing them down.
Wade, I think a jumping off point could be to start with the same line, because I sit here so.
Yes, that's a fun one too. I'll put my two very nerdy ones, very un-Laura writing ones in the chat. And I think we have 10 minutes.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and set a timer and we'll let you know when we're a few minutes before coming back. We'll go around 10 minutes for writing. Let's come back to one another. Another reminder as we begin to read and share our works, if you would like to share now and do not wish for your poem to be included in the group recording, please let Bryce know and we'll make sure to edit it out. Wade, back to you.
All right, so if you would use the raise hand feature or emote, I would just think back to when I first did this. You know, I hadn't been writing anything or any poetry, so it doesn't matter so much that what you share, its form. I think it's just, we'd all love to hear whatever you have. Anyone? All right. Some hands going up. Great. That's wonderful. Let's start. Deb.
Can you hear me? Okay. Do you blame me for contemplating the unknowable, for not burning the witches, or wandering away muttering madly? Do you blame me for being only me?
Nice. I love that. I would add two details. One, if there's a line that really stands out to you, feel free to drop that into chat. If you would like them to read it again, you can also throw such requests into chat. Jennifer.
Because I sit here, so can I be inured? In my mind, wind-swept mind, I am ever present elsewhere, my legs moving in slumber as a dog's might. I run from the bombs I am safe from, run to save some mother's son that is not my own darling one. Because I sit here, so are my eyes cast down, searching for light from the roots, forest shadows? Can we seek clarity, combing the underworld for answers? Because I sit here, so my hands pray in idleness, in irony, from our apparent abandonment. We bring each other a hot dish, but such is ghost food. Because I sit here, so I want for nothing, and I want us everything. Because I sit here, so we can languish into our holy ashes.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you. Elena.
Hi, Wade. Thank you for this poem. It's awesome. My poem's called Because. Because I can feel the cold air that is more spring than winter. In my spot, I sit alone like a monk on the riverbank. Because I close my eyes, I feel connected to the stars, fellow travelers, and other souls I've yet to meet. Because I do the work of reaching out in meditation to a world that would take 10 lifetimes to see, I feel the hearts of many in this one broken center, still holding together, even by a thread, humanity. Because through the wonder of Zoom, I see your faces illuminated, open, wanting to understand the essence of a soul seeking solace. Because I touch the earth, I feel the living organism from the worm to the whale, and my only response can be silence. To honor something is a gift of grace. Thank you.
Yes. Wow. 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 Stacy.
Because I sit here so, I remember grace, the year I found it, weeping in a community of formerly drunken women, each of us stepping within ourselves to drink poetry rather than wine. Because I sit here so, I remember mimeographed worksheets from Bible school, popsicle sticks and red yarn, God's eyes, the sacred arts and crafts for anxious children. Because I sit here so, I remember being saved at a fundamentalist church in middle school, certain for an entire week that Jesus's love was the missing piece in my quiet home. Because I sit here so, I thank Wade for resurrecting Laura's poem and for Amy blessing us with earth wisdom and the glorious fellowship of this kindred unity.
Thank you. Thank you. That's yeah, I like those. Looks like Katrin, then Sarah, then KG.
No title, just fast rate. Because I sit here so, I know with a knowing bigger than my body can contain, that wherever I go, we have been, that whatever I do, we have experienced, that whenever I show up, we have been waiting. And because I sit here so, I know with a knowing so ephemeral, like a living dream, that when I die, we will live. Forget the knowing of the world. What does your heart tell you? Your liver, your lungs, your bones? Because I sit here so, I feel the truth of 100% of my DNA being formed in the long chain of humanity. We are each passing on to the next our hopes, strengths, and fears. Together we shape the world. Any one of us could break the spell. With one bomb-shaped word, we end. May we live, may we live, may we live.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Sarah.
you. We are so different, but because I sit here so, mind resolutely curious, I just ask why. So you joined the NRA. Why? You're afraid they'll take your guns. Why? You want to teach your girl to shoot. Why? You want to repeat your childhood. Why? Your best memories are shooting with your dad. Why? He validated you and was present. Why? Presence brings connection. Why? I want my daughter to feel I'm present. We are the same. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. KG.
Okay. So the title I put for my poem is Sitting Lonely. I sit here, so I sit alone, in my still space of plentiful shadows. I think here about tomorrow, where the buttercup-colored sunlight will take me. If I will or will not be flooded by rain and its blue tinges. I feel the hardwood chestnut floor against my bony knees that are scraped by the glows that life doles out daily. I smelled the lingering sweet vanilla of a sleeping candle, wishing that my mind was as bright as its wick had been. I listened to my heart. It gently taps my soul, like a blackbird tapping in a window. Thud, thud, thud. A reminder that I'm still alive and hoping. I pray that my isolation fades. Like these intrusive thoughts, may it be temporary, and may this empty space be filled by loving people who keep me anything but still. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you. Looks like Steven's up next.
I titled this Gravity because I sit here so I pull the air to me, knowing she pulls back just as much as I need. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Love it. 12:56. What a privilege to get to bring my favorite author to this group. My favorite poet. She wrote a really, yeah.
Oops, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you should read it.
Well, what I wanted to do is, I don't want to cut you off, but when you're done speaking about the poem, I wanted Bryce to talk a little bit about what's happening next for Mindful Poetry, and then you'll read us out, or someone will read us out.
Cool. Bryce, go ahead.
Yeah. So next for Mindful Poetry, we're taking a month off in March to get ready for April, which is National Poetry Month. And so we'll be meeting at this same time every week in April. And I'll share my screen here. This year's poems, we're very excited to have them curated by Holly Liza Ghaffori, who recently did a new translation of Rumi, with lots of guest mindfulness facilitators and poetry facilitators all around the themes of ways of loving and ways of giving. And so we'll be sending you all the information about this coming up, and then all of these, the poems that we generate in these April sessions can be submitted for our annual publication, and this year is going to be our 5th anniversary. Can't believe it's been that long, but super exciting, and we really hope to see you in April. We'll send you all the details, and now we're going to read us out.
Yes, is there anyone who would like their take on this work? I'd love to have somebody else share their reading of it. It's kind of a fun read.
Ellen, would you like to?
I would love to, since I didn't share. So if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So will you put the poem back up, or should I?
I can put it up. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Alrighty, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Because I sit here so. Because I sit here so, drooping and parched under the sun of sorrow, I know somewhere a flower or another like me, hidden in a rare chance of difference, wonders and withers unaccountably. And if I sit here so, kindred and interlinked in circumstance with others like me, wherever I have been to dream. And if I sit here so, stir me not, demons of the storm, where I, as you would have me, astart with anger, gnawing the self-fold chain until the spell of unity break. Madness would but thunder where sorrow had once burned, a sun to smile in and sit waiting under. Because I sit here so, initiating in unrebellion, the perpetual ring of who are like me, death laps along with us and wears this garland of another and another dying alone, alike, and always.
Thank you. Thank you. I dropped a link in the chat that just a little bit more about her, and there's a link to a UK website that has a link to a lot of her poems. So if you want to read more of her work, it's out there.
Well, thank you so much, wonderful Wade. Thank you so much, Amy Tuttle. And thank you so much to this fellowship of soulful human know I always feel, and today, I don't know, maybe today in particular, this nourishment, this feeling of connectedness, the sacred nature of poetry and our connections feel much needed mana.
Mm-hmm.
We will see you in April. You will be hearing from Bryce, and have a beautiful rest of your day.
Okay.
Share those poems. I have to look at them. They were so gorgeous.
Yeah, please send me your poems and we'll post them on our blog page about today. And we'll see you soon. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye, thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.